Welcome and thank you for joining us for our presentation, Solving Your Problems with Math, How to Overcome Math Anxiety and Study for Tests. My name is Sharon Jarvis from the Academic Support Center.
And I am Catherine Wu, Personal Counselor at Online.
In this presentation, we'll cover the following topics: math anxiety causes, math myths, steps to reduce math anxiety, math study tips, and math test strategies. This webinar will be available as a recording after today's presentation.
If you struggle with math, you might find yourself bombarded with negative thoughts and feelings when you take a math class. Thoughts and feelings such as, I'm just not a math person. As in other situations where you have to do something you don't like, negative thoughts can make the situation more difficult. Let's start your journey with solving math problems by creating a new mindset. Let's look at how we can change some of the negative thoughts you may have about math into more positive ones. I always do poorly on tests is now, I am going to try a new study plan. If I don't pass, I'm a failure is now, I'm going to pass, but if I don't, I will do it next time. This test is going to be tricky is now, the test covers what I learned and will show me what I know. There is no way I can learn all of this is now, I don't need to know everything, just need to pass. I just don't get it is now, I can get it if I work hard enough. I can also set up tutoring to help me. Having the right mindset is just the first part of solving your problems with math. In order to find a solution, you must understand where the problem comes from. On the screen are the top 5 reasons why math causes anxiety for so many students. And number 5, tests. Tests cause anxiety. Many people report they understand the math but struggle to display understanding when they are asked to demonstrate their learning on formal tests. Number 4, fear of math. Students say they are afraid of math. They struggle to face this fear, just like other common fears like heights or public speaking. Number 3, negative experiences. Students may have had negative experiences with math at some point in their life, either in a specific grade, a teacher, or some other experience that caused students to avoid math. Number 2, no solid foundation. Sometimes people struggle with more complex math due to not having a solid foundation of math skills. And the number 1 reason math may cause anxiety for people is that students may try to memorize math concepts instead of striving to understand them. We will address each of these reasons and ways to reduce the associated anxiety with each of these events throughout today's session.
In addition to understanding why math causes anxiety, it's important to dispel any myths you might have when it comes to math before we talk about solutions. One at a time, we'll look at a statement about math. Think to yourself whether the statement is a myth or a fact. We'll discuss each one to make sure before moving forward, everyone is on the same page when it comes to math and the many myths that surround it. Number 1, there is only one way to do a math problem. This is a myth. Unless specifically stated by the professor that you must use a certain technique to solve, math problems can often be solved numerous ways. Learn as many techniques and methods as possible and use one of the ones you will feel the most comfortable with to solve math problems. Number 2, math must be done quickly or it's impossible. This is also a myth. Not all math lends itself to mental math. In fact, for many math problems, it's best to take a systematic, slow-down approach in order to ensure careless errors are not made. Number 3, math is logical but also creative. This is a fact. Many people assume that if you think logically, you cannot be creative and vice versa. When it comes to math, you can use logical thinking and creativity. Even Einstein said, logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Logic helps you think clearly about your knowledge and experiences, making connections among them, and synthesize new ideas. When learned well, logic has the power to unleash creativity. Build enough connections and you can follow a more direct path to the solution. Number 4, math is not relevant to the real world. Again, this is a myth. Math instruction is often viewed by students as a series of isolated skills and concepts they must work on in order to pass a unit test to move to the next chapter. However, all areas of math come with knowledge and skills students can use in the real world, from using algebra and percents to calculate tips in restaurants, to geometry to help with building or design projects. Math is all around us. Finally, number 5, some people are just math people. This is a total myth. Many people assume certain races and genders are naturally good at math. Despite this myth, people who are good at math aren't born that way. Learning math takes good teachers, willing students, and time and practice. Thinking back to when you first began learning math, you started with foundational skills in elementary school. Skills like subtraction, addition, multiplication, division. These skills, just like when building a house, provide the structure and support for building higher level skills. Once a student has mastered these and other foundational skills, they are equipped to learn higher level skills like algebra and geometry, often taught in middle and high school. While many students' formal math education may end here, many continue to advance math skills like statistics and calculus. When students struggle with higher level and advanced math skills, often the problem goes undiagnosed. When students are assessed, it is often found that the students who struggle in higher level math skills have cracks or gaps in their math foundation, just like when building a house on a poor foundation. Eventually, the other skills may crumble without proper support. In order to fix these gaps, you need to know what caused it in the first place. What we find is students who struggle in math had a negative math experience at some point in their academic life, oftentimes associated with a particular grade or teacher. This negative experience caused the students to have an anxiety towards math and avoid it having a downward spiral with poor preparation later in math skills and a poor math performance. Without intervention, this cycle can continue, causing more bad grades and continued anxiety. Understanding the missing skill gaps is one of the most effective ways to uncover math anxiety, along with taking the time and hard work to learn the necessary skills. It cannot be said enough that learning math takes time and hard work. Remember, as illustrated by the house on the last screen, math is cumulative. Concepts and skills build upon each other after week and year after year when learning math. If a student doesn't understand addition, they will find multiplication difficult, and so on. Learning math is not about memorizing. Trying to simply memorize everything only helps short-term and not long-term memory needed for cumulative subjects. Math learning is more about understanding and applying concepts. In order to understand these concepts, you must recognize that math has its own vocabulary that must be added to your vernacular. And remember, math is a skill. It takes time for the new vocabulary and concepts to sink in. Don't expect to learn something the first time it's taught. You need time to internalize what is being taught, just like any other skill. The more you practice, the more skillful you get. Finally, math requires persistence. This is as important for success as intelligence. Let's look at some action steps you can take to begin reducing your math anxiety.
Step 1. Ask for help. Remember, you are not alone in your dislike of math or in your journey to address this. Many people dislike and are nervous when it comes to math. The first thing to do is deal with the anxiety and work with somebody. Help is available through tutors from the Academic Support Center, through forming a study group, searching the internet for resources, and by asking questions. Asking questions can benefit not only you, but other students who may have had the same question but are hesitant to ask. Many courses come with embedded tutors for this exact purpose, and you can even post your question anonymously if desired. Step 2. Practice every day. Take the initiative to do more than the required assignments and readings to strengthen your math skills. Practice a little each day. Search the internet for fun math activities such as games, or find other ways to do math around you. This may sound like it's a lot of extra work and may take a lot of extra time, but sharpening your mental math skills is a good habit to do daily. It'll take less time than you think. The old phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it, applies when it comes to math skills. Step 3. Find a way that is natural for you. If a question stumps you at first, don't give up. Keep working to understand it in your own way. Look for other resources that explain the same concept. Doing this will make it easier to understand the professor's way of explaining. Searching YouTube for videos breaking down the math skill are often helpful. Look until you find a series of videos that make sense to you. Bookmark the site for future use. Step 4. Pay attention to details, especially your handwriting. The sloppier it gets, the more confused you might be. If your writing gets too sloppy, stop, take a breath, erase the messy parts, and start over again. Try using graph paper to keep your numbers lined up. There are free graph paper generators online that can help you. Or just turn a lined sheet of notebook paper horizontally to give yourself columns to keep the numbers lined up properly as you do the computations. Lastly, always do math in pencil, just in case you make a mistake. A tips worksheet with suggested websites can be found in the accompanying resource packet for this workshop. Please feel free to download this after our time is over.
The steps just discussed are beneficial to begin addressing the root of your math anxiety. At the same time you work on rebuilding your math foundation, it's important to study for the current math courses you're enrolled in. Starting from day 1, take good notes of terms, formulas, and other vital information. Organize your notes in a way that aids your study process. Otherwise, all the terms and formulas may jumble together, and in order to learn the materials, you must be able to understand them. Create your own cheat sheet as a quick reference guide to refer to during homework activities and tests. When taking notes, don't just skip through the materials looking for important terms. Instead, do the practice problems whether they are assigned or not, and as you do each problem, go back to the text and read through it. Read each step and then do that work step on the practice problem. If you are clear on what to do in this step, go to the next step and use the text as your guide. Think of this in the same way you would read and follow a recipe when cooking. Read the step, do the action, and then you will make sure it's done correctly before moving to the next step. Doing the problems in this manner helps you learn the formulas and techniques you need to know, as well as improve your problem-solving ability. Doing the practice problems and readings as separate activities will not be as beneficial as working through the problems step by step. Doing this as part of your daily study process helps when it comes time to take tests. During your homework on day 1 of the class is the first step to studying for tests. In addition to making cheat sheets or study guides, try alternate methods such as flashcards to drill yourself on formulas and other vocabulary from the materials. Use any homework assignments, quizzes, or tests that have been returned and graded to learn from your mistakes. Rework any of the problems you have previously missed to understand what errors to avoid in future tests. If you're not automatically given access to your graded tests or quizzes, ask your professor to release them to you. These study tips and other suggestions can be found in the resource packet. Studying properly is one of the best ways to relieve the anxiety that math tests can cause. On the day of the test, approach the test questions in a systematic way. Make sure you read the full question and answer all parts of the question. Many math problems are multi-step, and it's important to do all of the steps. In order to answer the question, you must analyze what the question is asking and then do the necessary computations, using the technique of given, find, need to help with your analysis. What information is given? What do I need to find? And what do I need to do? Be sure to write out all of your work on scrap paper. Showing your work can help you catch your own errors before submitting your test. Try drawing pictures if suited to the question. Use a calculator to double check your calculations, but not spend valuable time using the calculator for any math you already know. Remember, of course, to check your answer. Sometimes an innocent mistake, such as forgetting a negative sign, may cause you to choose an answer that is wrong. If you check your answer, you can catch these costly mistakes and redo the problem. To see the step-by-step process laid out, refer to the resource packet provided at the end of this workshop.
If you are able to do the problems in the homework, but find yourself blanking when it comes to taking a test, you might be dealing with performance anxiety. Some anxiety is normal and can even motivate you to do better than if you didn't feel any anxiety at all. However, if you find yourself overwhelmed with worry, fear, or find yourself sweating or feel your heart pounding really hard, then you need to address anxiety first before you can do anything else. Performance anxiety is less about what you know and more about calming your mind and body and convincing yourself to just do the task at hand and stop thinking. Here are some steps you can take to address your anxiety. Number 1, take a deep breath before jumping into the problem. Number 2, rate your anxiety on a scale from 0 to 10, with 0 being completely calm and 10 being in a state of total panic. For example, say to yourself, I'm at a 7 right now. I'm going to take a deep breath and breathe deeply in and out and count to 5 as I breathe and see how I feel. Then, rate your anxiety level again. Before you jump in and start the test, write down the key formulas or facts that you are concerned about. If you can, go through the test and do the easy problems first. If your teacher allows it, create a one-page sheet with key concepts, formulas, and example problems. When you feel your anxiety rising, stop what you are doing and count to 10. Take deep breaths. Stand up and stretch if you need to. And lastly, remind yourself that you know what you are doing. You have done the practice problems before, so you can figure the problems out now. You just need to let your brain do its thing. These steps can be found in the resource packet as well.
To learn even more about your math study skills, take the Math Study Skills Inventory linked on screen. Here, you can examine the task of studying and gain even more insight as to how to prepare for your math test based on your current study skills. Remember, if your problems with math have been happening for a while, it is vital to look back at when you first began struggling and take the time and practice to strengthen your math skills. Otherwise, the problems you currently have with math will continue. Thank you so much for attending our session today. We will now spend our remaining time answering any questions. If you think of any questions after our time is over, email your questions to askonline@berkeleycollege.edu. For references and additional information, visit the website seen on screen.